In August of 2025, the world's attention locked onto an unexpected diplomatic move. United States President Donald Trump announced that he would meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15th to discuss a possible ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war, and maybe even a deal to end the fighting. But there was a catch. That deal could involve changes to Ukraine's borders, and that's where things get complicated. In the weeks before the announcement, Trump's strategy mixed pressure with personal diplomacy. He threatened new sanctions against Russia, and even penalties on big buyers of Russian oil, like China and India. At the same time, he hinted at a land for peace arrangement, suggesting that Moscow might keep some of the territory it has seized in exchange for stopping the war. That idea drew immediate criticism from Ukraine, from US lawmakers, and from many allies, all warning, you can't reward military aggression without encouraging more of it. On the other side, Putin's team reportedly offered a ceasefire plan. The terms, international recognition, or at least no objections to Russia's control of Crimea and parts of the Donbas region. In return, Moscow would stop large-scale attacks. For Ukraine, the answer was clear: absolutely not. President Volodymyr Zelensky said any deal that forces Ukraine to give up land is unacceptable, and any decision about Ukrainian territory must involve Ukraine directly and follow its own constitutional process. Ukrainians worrying that a ceasefire, freezing today's front lines, would lock in their losses and make it nearly impossible to take back what's been seized. In Washington, the plan set off alarm bells. Lawmakers stressed that the president alone cannot recognize changes to another nation's borders. Allies in Europe were split. Some saw a chance to save lives and stop the bloodshed. Others warned, accepting Russia's demands would undermine the basic principle that borders cannot be changed by force. Here's the reality. If Russia gets to keep its gains, it sends a message to the world that wars of conquest work. Yes, a ceasefire could save lives right now, but without strong enforcement and clear guarantees, it could simply be a pause before the next round of fighting. From here, several futures are possible. 1. Ukraine is at the table, and an inclusive, monitored ceasefire is reached, the best-case scenario. 2. Trump and Putin strike a deal without Ukraine's consent, freezing the war, but locking in Russia's territorial gains. 3. Talks collapse, and the fighting escalates again. 4. The US piles on sanctions, hurting Russia economically, but not ending the war. Each scenario carries huge consequences for Europe's security, global energy markets, and the credibility of the United States. The choices made in the coming weeks will shape not only Ukraine's future, but the future of international order itself.